All right. Good evening, traders. We had a really good week last week. If you weren't a part of the awesome week that we had, that's tough. But let's go over this DXY real quick. Um, Remember, I said in my last video, since we had that engulfing candle and we had a really weak downtrend, that we probably were going to continue going up. So that's basically what happened. We caught a lot of sells. Well, we caught a lot of actually buys with USDJPY with the our group. So I was really looking forward to keep the momentum going for next week because let's go to the even though we're at that 200 and it could possibly just bounce off and go down. So I want you guys to understand that too. It's still trending to the downside on the daily, so we can get a pushback and then continue going back down. But um remember, we got a demand right here. So and then we got the highs up here. And we have a supply that was right there, supply that was right there. This could possibly push back up, at least come back to these equal highs right here that we're with. Look at that as liquidity in a way. Let me do this. Look at that as that's where most of the money's at, obviously, right? Because we got the supply right here. And we're not gonna put it there. It's too big, but you get what I'm saying. I can see this continuing to come back up to this area, right? That's just my long term bias about DXY at this point. So we're still going to be continually looking for buys going into next week, but we can play it by ear on both ends. Like we can catch sell setups because it's still we still got this, you know, a downtrend in a way, but we'll just play it by ear. Let's come over here to the H4, and what do we have here? Without me telling you, what do you see here? You see price still pushing up after it curved and went up. Now, this is what I'm looking at with the DXY. Let's come here and let's do some observations. So we have a demand right here, and we got a demand that was right here. It was on the H1. I think, yeah, H1. So it's like something on H1. Now, price is making high, low, higher, higher, low, higher, high, right here or right here. We could take the continuation, right? So we're looking maybe break a candle to continue going this way, or break and continue going up here until I'm looking at it this way because we're looking at the dollar. Hmm. I'm thinking it's gonna come back up and can like at least come back to this supply. Very small supply when we're dealing with DXYs, but it is what it is. Let's fill in. I think the next move is to continue to come up at least to 15. If it wicks back up here, cool, but we're still on a downtrend on the daily. But the H4 still looks like more room to continue going to the upside. With that being said, as far as USD pairs, we can still look for sales on EU, NU. We can find setups. And with our setup, we're on the M5, we're on the M15. We're trading in New York session when there's values. We could literally go either way. But like for the next week, I can see next week tapping these zones and continue going up, especially if there's news or something. And I'm gonna check that anyway. I need to check that. The reason why I'm looking at it to be this setup because I see a setup on USD Swiss franc, and this is my setup. Let me get this stuff off. I don't usually do this stuff no more, but eventually, when you see the lower lows and stuff like that now starting to make higher highs, it wants to come and fill this whole move back in. This whole move from, let's just do it like this. This whole move probably is going to get filled back in. Okay? That's usually what happens. And that's why I'm looking at it from this perspective. If USD Swiss franc comes down here, we'll have a very beautiful trade set up for USD Swiss franc. What's this? A 5.5R. We can tighten it up a little bit more, but I just usually put it below the low. No big deal. This is gonna be a bomb setup, and this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more bullish movement on the dollar next week, and probably into the next the weeks to come, until we come back to this supply. Then after that, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe a wick up there, take that liquidity out at that high, and then drop. We don't know. I looked at the weekly, and you look at the weekly. I mean, that little supply right here, it dropped the last time, but it was so weak. Will it come back there and make an M and continue dropping? Or will we break past all this and come and fill this fair market gap to come up to this supply? Who knows? But that's the game we playing. We playing the probability game. We don't know what's going to happen. With all the news about BRIC and all this stuff, we don't know how America is going to respond to BRICS. We don't know. So we just play by ear every week. And this is why I'm a scalper. I come in, I scalp. I get my scalps, and I'm out the door. So get this in your notes or keep this video, go back over it again. We're looking for buying pressure next week. It's going to continue going down maybe for one day. And then if there's some news or something, which we're going to check that. If it's some news, don't expect the news to don't go up first. It's going to come and grab liquidity off these demands first and then start pushing up. So keep that in mind. This is sales on what? GU? Let's look at GU. Yeah, because I'm looking at, this is the move I'm looking for GU. I'm looking for it to push back down to these lows. Like, it already broke the candle. You see, breaker structure, tap the zone, broke the candle. I'm looking for more pressure to come down. Now, if price doesn't take out these lows, man, look, then it's going to continue going up. But until then, you got to play it by ear. But that's what it looks like. The dollar is going to continue to be strong. So sales on GU, buys on US Swiss franc. UJ, on the other hand, looks, I mean, it's still bullish. It still broke these highs. It broke these highs right here off this move. So highs have been broken. And we have demand right here. Trading below the zone. We do have somewhat of a supply right here. So we're at a supply now. But does that mean anything? No. We figured it out now. We got fair market gap right here. We got a fair market gap above this area. I'm sure price wants to come and fill this gap in one day. So what I'm looking at, and this is just probability, it can possibly not happen. Remember, it can possibly not happen. But if we do, let's say the supply does work out and it does exactly what USD Swiss franc got to do and the DXY got to do, it comes down to this zone because of some news or something that happened, and then continue to the upside. That's something we got to worry about too with USD JPY. That we might have this move right here, and it might burst right past that supply, and this would be the next area because it's got to fill that gap in right there. You see what I'm saying? Do you see how we're looking at this? This is why I trade USD pairs. It's kind of easy to figure out what's going on, especially if you could come to the DXY and get your setup. So that's USD JPY. Put that in your notes. That's USD Swiss franc. Put that in your notes. And that's GU. What time frame? Somewhere like the hour, the H4. We're looking for the dollar to still be strong. Now, again, like I said, if it doesn't break these lows, then maybe GU will turn around. But until then, you know, we're gonna continue it going in the direction of the market, breaking structure, and price is not taking out lows. So it's hey, you just got to keep it that way. Now, here is the funny part about trading and everything being probability. Let's go to New Zealand dollar. Look at New Zealand dollar though. New Zealand dollar looks like it wants to come down, tap this zone, and come back up to the supply. So I don't know how that's gonna work. Let me go on the hour. I mean, it is at an hour supply too. So I mean, we just got to play this. It's probably the same thing with GU. If GU don't take out this low, it's going to continue going up. Same with the New Zealand dollar. If it comes and fills this fair market gap that's on these hours, is it on an H4 too? It's an H4 market gap, and if it fills that in and it doesn't break below this area or this 200 EMA, then expect it to continue going up. So just got to play it by ear. Just got to play it by ear. All I know is we'll get our scouts, we'll get our moves, and we'll be perfectly fine. Now the longer term moves, if we want to take them or not, because I'm debating if I'm going to do them or not. But if we take them, then we just got to keep in mind that we might have to put stop losses at break even or something like that, just in case this projection for next week doesn't happen. Um, let's go to Nasdaq real quick. I caught that last Friday. I should have gave that to you guys. But Nasdaq is still bullish too. It's very bullish. Let's look at the H4. Are we in no man's land? All right, so we broke past the. So we did break some structure a little bit. And where's the. So we got that area. We got this area of supply. See, the indices been on fire. The indices have been on fire after making this triple bottom. I remember I gave this triple bottom out to everyone. I don't know if people took it. I didn't take it. But this triple bottom down here, it created a triple bottom. I knew it was gonna come and fill this whole move. If we would have held that one day. All right, so let's go to H4. We are still seeing bullish movement. It's still not at that supply. What do we do from here? What do we do from here? We start looking for our demands. That's the low. And then we got some minor demands in between. The next one that it should come up to is right there, unless it wants to come down there. So we got to play NASDAQ by ear too. We can look for, I don't know, what is it doing on the hour? We could look for areas to buy off of. So, because it's still in the uptrend, it's still breaking new highs. So these are retracements at this point. There's not a actual reversal yet, unless it gets to that supply. So we can look for buys and sales, just depending on what happens during London session. Honestly, when we wake up and we just got to see what happened with London session, what fair market gaps were created, where we at, and then just go from there. That's pretty much what we do in the morning. London gives us fair market gap, or we might get a fair market gap before 7 o'clock, and then we look at see if the fair market gap has a supply and demand area on it, and then we wait and see if it'll come back there. We take the break of candle, we get our 15 to 20 pip move or whatever it's gonna be, and we're out the market for the day. So even this right here, this is an hour, but we have a market. This is a fair market gap on the hour. So I don't know if it's gonna come back down here and give us a break of candle and then continue. It might. Who knows? We'll see. It all depends. But that's the projection for next week and in the weeks to come with our dollar pairs. We'll do what we got to do. We do it every week. We gonna make our money, but I do want to get us a long-term trade, um, especially off of UJ and USD Swiss franc and GU. So other than that, hey, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you guys Monday during the New York session early. Peace.